is going to be the wide receiver who steps in to get the job done, to make sure that this whole thing still goes, and blah, 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 blah. Defense. Coming off a very frustrating loss for the 49ers in Minnesota. There's another one of those, didn't see it happen, and then the day after you find out a player is hurt, not just like a little hurt, but going to be gone for a couple weeks hurt, and that's Deebo Samuel. Didn't see Deebo get hurt, didn't realize he was hurt, but a calf strain has Kyle Shanahan saying that he's going to miss the next couple of weeks, the next handful of games. Okay, well, I guess we can pretty much kiss off the smooth sailing into 2024 that was promised to everyone after the Super Bowl. Like, oh yeah, we're going to have a really smooth offseason. It'll be nice and easy for Brock. He's going to work out. There'll be no problems. And you look at this schedule, it gets really brutal. There's a gauntlet coming up. We got a nice smooth entry point to the year. There's nothing smooth so far about this. We can see that. Having said all that, Niners are still in pretty good shape, all things considered. And if you're only, in the vacuum of worrying about the Niners to the point where you only consume the NFL through Niner anxiety, I could see why you got some anxiety. Dude, look around the league right now. Look at some of the offenses and the struggling to find the points and the touchdowns and the passing yards, and tell me that the 49ers still aren't set up for success. I don't think you can. So, did the degree of difficulty, does it get harder without Deebo Samuel? Of course it does. But this is not the, panic time that some people are trying to sell it to be. Deebo, calf strain, out a few weeks. The sports world is basically reacting to this news in one of two ways. Brandon Ayuk, blah, 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 or Brock Purdy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, is that the only way to solve this? Brandon Ayuk needs to play. Hey, let me tell you right now, you could have cloned Deebo. You could have had two. Forget about losing a Deebo. You could have produced me an extra Deebo before the Rams game, and I still would have said, Brandon Ayuk, you got to do better than what we've seen in 2 weeks. He's playing himself hopefully into shape. He's gotten an awful lot of run out on that field, and it's time for Brandon Ayuk to look like Brandon Ayuk again. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I know that. You know that. I mean, that was the way it was going to be, though, whether Deebo got hurt or not. Ayuk's got 6 catches for 71 yards on 10 targets across 2 games, and that had to get better regardless of Deebo Samuel. Well, look, Juwan Jennings, you're the guy to step up. Chris Conley, is he going to be the guy to step up? Is this time for Jacob Cowing to step up? Ricky Pearsall obviously is a guy that is stashed in the getting better, hopefully as quickly as possible closet, and will be coming back soon to help through this injury. And, the other thing that you're hearing from everyone today is, well, it's got to be Brock Purdy. If you want to know whether or not you should pay Brock Purdy $60 million, well, let's see him as we remove weapons from him now prove that he deserves to be the 49ers quarterback. Like, what are you talking about? We will now see who Brock Purdy really is. This guy's leading the NFL in passing right now. And I think we all agree that the 49ers offense hasn't exactly popped yet. And Brandon Ayuk has stunk so far. Deebo's been good. He hasn't been transcendent. Kittle's been good. He hasn't been transcendent. Not yet. Here's what Brock Purdy does. I really don't think it matters who the target is. The only target that matters is how routinely can you present yourself for this guy to throw you a historically accurate ball at the dawn of a young quarterback's career. I don't think Brock Purdy really cares the name about the back of the jersey. He's just looking for hands to get the job done. I think he's going to deliver a good ball as long as people are getting open. I don't think that this is a litmus test onto whether or not Brock Purdy's going to make money next year or not. Because the answer is he could go 0 for Sunday against the Rams. He's making money next year. So there is no referendum. Is the number one topic in Bay Area sports talk radio, national TV shows about football in the NFL. Who is going to be the wide receiver who steps in to get the job done, to make sure that this whole thing still goes, and blah, 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 blah. Defense. That's going to make these games easier to get through than not. Not some, understudy wide receiver. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I am walking into that defensive room. I'm saying, Brandon Staley, we brought you in for moments like this. Nick Sorensen, we elevated you to defensive coordinator for moments like this. Here's the plan. I don't want to see a number greater than 17 points on my scoreboard for the next 2 weeks. And you got the right opponents to get it done. You know, Bosa was talking about after the game. Like, you know, I'll try to do my Nick Bosa impression. Yeah, it's a wake-up call. But we know why it happened. There's a lot to fix, but some good things for sure. And he's right. You know, as frustrating as that Vikings game was, and the reason why it was so frustrating is because it was there. It was there for the taking. They just never took it. They didn't get off the field when they needed to as a defense. That can't happen against the Rams now. That can't happen coming up against the New England Patriots. In the next couple of weeks, you got two incredibly unbalanced teams on the schedule. All the Rams do is throw the ball. And then all the Patriots do is run the ball. That's all they do. So you got to deal with half of an offense, basically. You know, you always keep in mind to not get caught off guard, obviously, but the 0-2 Rams, who already have injuries all over the place, are averaging 15 points per game through the 2 games that we played so far, right? They get the second worst rushing attack in the NFL. An awful lot of institutional knowledge is on full display from Kyle Shanahan that he knows how to beat Sean McVay teams. All of that needs to be brought to bear at SoFi Stadium, Levi's South, Candlestick South. There's no letting off the Rams. It's a team that this team knows how to beat. It's your first divisional opponent of the year. Start 1-0 in your division. Get to 2-1. Get past the Rams. Kyle, you know how to do it. You're locked, loaded, ready to go. I'm telling you right now, Jordan Mason, like, oh, what are they going to do without Christian McCaffrey? Well, Jordan Mason is the NFL's second leading rusher after 2 weeks. So I'm not worried about the ground game at all. Jordan Mason, you got the goods to fill the bill. Go do it again. It's the defense that's got to carry the 49ers through the Deebo absence, because then you got the Patriots, who are 1-1, but they're averaging 18 points per game. They got a bottom 4 passing attack. They run the daylights out of the ball through their first 2 weeks because they really don't have much of an option. These are unbalanced teams that the 49ers are built to beat. I mean, Brock Purdy, it's not going to take 3 touchdowns to beat either one of your next 2 opponents. It really shouldn't. And neither the Rams nor the Patriots should be looking north of 17 points on that scoreboard. Of course, it's football. It's difficult. We all know that. But man, scoring is down. Passing is down. Touchdowns are down across this league. And hopefully they don't start picking up for 2 teams that are having trouble finding them anyways up to this point in the year. So you got the right 2 opponents on this schedule to get you through the Deebo ain't here right now news. The Christian McCaffrey ain't here right now news. And again, there was no universe where Brandon Ayuk doing more didn't have to happen anyways. Does this accelerate his timeline of the team needing him to do more right now? Sure, but not really. Because he needed to do more anyways. Like I say, clone me. Give me 2 Deebos for this game. You still need a better Brandon Ayuk than what we've seen so far. And we know it's going to take him, to play himself into shape. Trent Williams, he's going to be better this week, you would assume. And the one group on this team that ain't injured, you don't have an injury to a wide receiver or running back, is this defense. This defense is loaded. This defense is ready. And it hasn't really shown us its fangs quite yet. You got 2 opponents, basically going like this, presenting their necks to the fangs of the 49ers defense. Come sink it in, boys. Solve your offensive shortcomings with a defense that doesn't screw around. That's my kind of football team. You think you got that in you, 49ers? Show it to me. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.